I want you to put your hands together for Jackson Heights' own Mr. Randy Watson. Randy Watson. Anybody who gets that, you're awesome. You're awesome, and you probably spent your childhood the same way I did. Anyway, welcome to your Vape at 5. I am your host. I'm BlackCat. Today, I have a review for you. I have a review for you of a new RDA, not even released yet, still on pre-order. This is by Vitality Mods, and it is called the Flatline RDA. Got this little gem last week, I believe on Friday. I've been vaping it since Sunday. Actually did a live wick on Sunday, and since then, really been enjoying. This is a unique RDA and something I'm really excited to show you guys. Some things I really like about it, some things about it that I question, but that's pretty much how all products are. So without further ado, let's take it down to the table. I'm going to show you the RDA, show you what all it comes with and everything, and then I'll bring it back up top and we will talk about the Flatline RDA from Vitality Mods. Let's take it down. We're going to take it down right now. Randy Watson. Jackson Heights' own Mr. Randy. Whoever doesn't get that is like, that guy's crazy as shit. You know what? You're right. All right, here we go. Here is the gorgeous packaging that comes with this RDA. So it's just this little square box. It says VM for Vitality Mods. The side there says Flatline. Vitality Mods, Flatline RDA. On the back are the specifications. So 25 millimeter diameter, deep juice well, about 5 millimeter juice well. Pretty big though. Didn't have any, had a little bit of leaking with it, but nothing. It's center airflow, so you're gonna have a little bit of that, but nothing too serious. It's a dual coil RDA. I don't see this being a single coil RDA. I also they don't give you anything with it to make it a single coil RDA. So it is a dual coil RDA all the way. Stainless steel construction. It comes in stainless steel and black. Vertical wedge style clamp system. Now I'll show you this one when I show you the deck. Very interesting, guys. A very unique idea. Locking cap, which is excellent. Dual side airflow, beehive. It is honeycomb airflow, which I love, and there are 19 little airflow holes on either side, about 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter each hole. 510 contact pin, squonk compatible. I ran it in squonk mode the majority of the time that I used it. And then there is what comes in the box. Now, when you turn this over and I open this up, there is really nothing in here. No instruction manual, just the gut. So it really comes more like a higher end RDA would, where you just get the actual RDA and then you get your extras. Your extras are going to be 2 extra deck screws, a couple springs for your clamp system. You're going to get a gold-plated 510 pin. If in the original packaging, you'll have the gold-plated squonk pin, but I have already installed it. And you're going to get several O-rings. Really, okay, this is not something that I normally would mention, but the O-rings used on this are really nice quality. They are they move very easily, and they're very durable. So let's take this down just a touch. Let me get you in here just a bit more. So here's the actual RDA. Right here it says Flatline, right there. Let me see if I can focus that in just a little bit better for you guys. Well, that's about as good as it's going to get right there. So Flatline RDA says on one side, there's your airflow. So 19 of those little airflow, honeycomb airflow. On this side of it just has the VM for Vitality Mods, which is their trademark logo. And the other side, your airflow. So same airflow on both sides. 810 Delrin drip tip. No extra drip tip comes with it, but there is a really nice O-ring there, as you can see. Inside the top here, sorry, my ultrasonic is a little dirty still, or a little wet still, just ignore that. 810 drip tip is, or the O-ring is inside here, so you can change this drip tip out for any other drip tip you want to use. Basically, including the drip tip, it is a 4-piece RDA. So here's your 810 drip tip, wide bore. I used it. I didn't think it was actually that bad. I thought it was pretty good. But just a regular Delrin drip tip, nothing special about it. Here's the top. So you have the Little concave part around here almost looks like something. You can really grab onto it nicely, and it spins really, really nice. Airflow is controlled from here and here, obviously, and you just twist it to control your airflow. So airflow control piece here, O-ring there holds it in nice and tight. But again, if you look at the action on this, and I'll just show you because it is so impressive. I mean, it turns so nice. It really does. Here's the actual barrel of the RDA. So decent thickness, good machining on it, no machine marks or anything. Looks really good. Here's what locks into your deck. You'll see your little ridges right there on either side. So it locks it in to the deck so you can't over push it through the deck. Some RDAs or some older style RDAs, you put the cap on and you could push the cap all the way down. It would actually go past the deck. Can't do that with this one. This will lock right in place for you. But again, no machine marks. Looks good. There. And again, I like their logo. I think their logo is pretty cool. Very basic and simple. I like the look of this RDA. Absolutely. So here's the star of the show, and here's what is unique about this RDA. So it is a dual clamp style RDA. Got that right there. Looking straight down on it there, a couple things you notice is these posts are fairly large. They're 9 by 10 millimeters. Also, you can see the squonk pin straight down through there, so the squonk pin has really good openness there to the deck, so it squonks really, really well. But let's stick with these posts. So you'll see the post there. Pretty monstrous, pretty big. At first, when I first saw this RDA and I saw the deck, I was a little taken back with how big those posts are. And what I was worried about was they were going to really take away from the ability to build it. And I was worried also that it was going to affect the flavor, that it was going to push the coils too far away from each other and affect the flavor. It did neither of those. Basically, this is really a builder's RDA to the core. You're going to be able to put some absolutely amazing, unique style builds in this RDA. And this is something that I think every builder out there, you really want to get a hold of this and see what you can do. It's another of these clamp styles that are like the Gullum RDA, but it takes it a little bit in a different direction. So when you put your coils in here, the coil leads are going to go in. You're going to screw these down to keep it nice and tight, but the leads are actually going to come through the bottom there. So you're going to be able to cut your leads off at the bottom. You're going to have access to those. So you really don't even have to trim your leads before you put them in. I didn't know that when I originally wicked it, but I found that out after I looked, and I'll show you when I put coils in it what that actually looks like. These clamps are spring loaded, so when I open these up, you'll see they just pop right up. So let me do that. So there, they're open, and it just rises right up with it, and you can see there. So it's spring loaded, makes it nice and easy, so you don't have to put your finger in there, try to hold it open while you're trying to install your coils or any mess like that. It'll stay open for you until you get your coils in there, and then you can screw it down. One thing about it, I'm not a big Phillips head screw guy, and you guys know this. The clamps work really well, and it's going to hold your coils, but I'll tell you this, it isn't easy to get a really good grind and turn it and crank it down onto the coils. Not necessarily, it's not really needed though, because these clamps are so big, they do actually grab onto the coil fairly well. Actually really well, I shouldn't say fairly well, really well. Here's those little ridges here that are going to lock the cap in there, and you got dual O-ring on here to hold the cap on. The bottom of the RDA says Vitality Mods, Flatline RDA, serial number, negative pin, 510 pin, protrudes beautifully. This is, to me, I used it in squonk mode. I had a fantastic time with it, but this is really intended more for a mech device in my opinion, and you can see how far that 510 pin protrudes, certainly hybrid safe. All right, so without further ado, let's get some coils in here. Coils I'm going to be using are from a gentleman you guys know and love, somebody that I actually haven't talked to in quite a while, Mr. Yeti's uncle. Open these up here and here. All right, so it's nice and open. I'm just going to take my coils. I'm going to set them in here across from each other. These are coils I already used. You guys know I don't like to be wasteful. but these are the ones I used to actually test it. You're just going to set them down in there like that. Go to the other side, and you can see how they just stays open. They sit in there very nicely. Let's set this one in here like this. So you get the benefit of this clamp system without it being super difficult to build on, which is certainly one of the major issues with a lot of clamp systems, is that they can be pretty difficult to build on. And this one, you don't really have that. So if you see how easy I got them in there, now I'm just going to hold it and screw these in. There we go. Do the other one here. So with these flathead screws, you're not really going to be able to crank down on it. But again, I don't really feel it's necessary to do that because they do stay nice and tight. So just grab this here and clean these up just a bit. There we go. Clean this one up just a bit. Get it nice and straight. There we go. So how's that look? Looks great. All right, let's heat these up. Make sure I'm at the right ohm for my mod here. Gonna put it back on 2. There we go. All right, so let's get these all cleaned up. There's a hair on there. Get that off there. There we go. All right, that should be good. Now let's go ahead and wick it up. Gonna be using, you guys know what I love to use. You're blessed. All of you are blessed. It is the Holy Fiber. So let's grab a piece out here. Is that enough for 2? That might be enough for 2. Well, no. That's enough for, well, you know what? This will be enough for 1. I might have to pull another piece out, though. All right. There we go. Let me grab another piece. And pull a little bit off of here. That should be plenty. This Holy Fiber, you don't need a whole lot because it isn't as... It doesn't fall apart as easily as cotton does. So you can just get a little bit in there and it will work fantastic. But it looks like there's a lot in there, even though there's not. And I think a lot of times when I wick something, you guys are like, oh my God, you're putting so much cotton in there, but it's really not that much. It just actually looks like a lot. Once you try it, you'll know what I mean. Let's go ahead and comb these out just a bit. Notice how long I left my cotton there. That's something, this reminds me a lot of the dead rabbit in that respect, is you're gonna leave your cotton fairly long. And what I do is, I want it to barely sit into the juice well. So I'm gonna cut it I'm actually gonna pull it back on this side, pull it back on that side, make sure it goes down in there, barely hits the deck. Same thing on this side. Is that long enough? I think it is. Yep, that's long enough. All right, so slide it under here. Could have left it a little bit longer. I could actually pull it back just a bit. Let's do that just so I make sure it catches. All right, there we go. Just gonna put it in there, but you want it to barely touch the deck in order to absorb the most amount of juice. This side here, I can trim down just a little bit. I can't stress that enough, guys. Never leave your wick too long. Always want your wick barely touching the deck. There we go. If you ever have trouble getting your wick, it's not long enough and you don't want to re-wick it, just wet it, put some liquid on it, and it will stretch it out and make it a little bit longer. So there we go. With the wick having to be so long, you kind of got to take your time with it, or at least I feel like you do. Make sure you get it set up the way you want it. All right, now I got a real good treat for you guys today. Or at least for myself. It's the first time I am trying Turkish cake, the new e-liquid from Mr. M. Turk. This is butterscotch, white cake, and a slight lemon frosting. So I'm looking forward to this one. So let's just get some juice down in there. All right. Wow, it smells lovely. All right, let's go ahead and cap this up. Gonna put this into the deck. There it is, it locked. Grab my airflow control, slide that back on there, put that there, and let's take it back up top and talk about the Flatline RDA. All right, guys. So, Flatline RDA by Vitality Mods. You know, I don't believe I have anything from Vitality Mods. They reached out to me. This was sent to me just for, you know, keeping everything as real as possible. This was sent to me for the purposes of this review. The Flatline, they have a build team, a bunch of fantastic builders, and some builders that I have featured on the show and am going to feature moving forward. So I have a little bit of a relationship with them. It does not affect how I'm going to rate this RDA by any means. And I told them that before they sent it to me. It's like, yeah, you can send it to me, but I'm going to be honest about it. When I first started the RDA, I thought it was unique. I thought it was really, really cool. And I was like, you know what? This is straight up a builder's RDA. And this is something that I think every builder is going to want to have because you're really going to be able to put some showcase builds in it. And it's going to look fantastic on Instagram. I still 100% feel that way. But through the use of it, the last 3 or 4 days, I've really come to enjoy the vape from it. One thing about it that I absolutely love, and I think the shining part, let me take a couple of vapes off of it, and I want to try this Turkish cake. I haven't tried it yet. I just opened it. So let me try it real quick. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay, if you haven't tried it, it's fantastic. It's so good. The lemon isn't overpowering. It's actually really, really good. So, one thing I want you to notice about this RDA first is listen to how super Freddie Boom Boom Washington smooth this airflow is. Just take a listen. Put your ear next to the speaker and listen to this. Do you hear that? The airflow on it is literally as smooth as any airflow. It rivals the Rebirth, and the Rebirth, one of the big things for me with how smooth the airflow is, and this is the same. It is open, but not too open. It gives you a little bit of a restriction. Even when it's fully open, you feel like you're pulling the vapor from the coil, and I absolutely love that. So, without further ado, let me go through the cons and pros for this RDA. I'm going to start with the cons. So, the posts are big, and that can be discouraging for people who aren't builders. They're going to look at this RDA and they're going to say, well, that's more of a builder's. Well, anybody who knows, they're going to be like, that's a builder's RDA. Those posts are big. I'm not going to be able to use it. And I think that's a negative in that it's going to turn some people off. Do the post work as a disadvantage to drip to the RDA? It does in some respects, because if you're going to drip this RDA, then you're going to I always want to drip straight onto my coils. So that's why I like my coils to be nice and close together right at the top. A lot of RDAs like the Goon and stuff like that, you can get to them, but you kind of got to go left and right. This one you would have to paint. And what I mean by that is you're going to take the cap off and you're going to have to paint those coils because you're not going to be able to get it just straight up from dripping it. They're too far apart and they hide behind the concave of the cap here. So that was where it came up in squonk mode and it really, really worked. The second would be the other part that I mentioned, that it really truly is more of a squonking RDA, believe it or not, than it is a dripping RDA in my opinion only. That it's more of a dripping RDA in the fact that the coils are kind of far apart, so you're not going to be able to drip. If you're like me and you like to drip right onto the coils, that's not going to happen. The pros for this RDA, the first pro is what I've already mentioned, the airflow. The airflow is silky smooth. Silky smooth. Gives you a touch of resistance on your pull, even in direct lung. It's not a It's not a restricted direct lung, but it does give you enough pull and enough little bite back on it that it really makes you pull that vapor in and really enjoy it. I love the airflow on this. I can't say that enough. You know that I love honeycomb airflow. You know that I love direct airflow. I like bottom airflow better, but in this respect, with this RDA, that airflow is a 10 out of 10 all day long. With that is the flavor from the RDA blew me away. I wasn't expecting the flavor to be this good. I really wasn't. And the flavor on it is fantastic. It is an everyday use. It is an everyday RDA for somebody who enjoys this style RDA. It's not one of those that you're just going to build on and put away. This is something you're going to use. Absolutely. The flavor on it is banging perfect. The look. It's gorgeous. I think it really is a gorgeous RDA. One thing, maybe not the Delrin drip tip. Maybe you want to change that out, and I understand that, and I kind of do as well. But the O-ring is inside here. So you can change this out with any 810 drip tip you want. Color options, you only have black and stainless steel, but I'm a black and stainless steel guy. That's the only color RDAs I ever buy. So that's not a problem for me. Does that mean they may change up and add more colors to it if it sells really well? They could, but right now you're limited to those two. Still, the look is fantastic. Quality of the machining on the RDA is fantastic. It is not machined like an RDA that is in the $25 to $32 range. It certainly isn't. It is certainly an echelon higher than that in the quality of the design. Squonking. Okay, so this is something I wanted to mention. I'm putting this down as a pro. This RDA in squonk mode is absolutely fantastic. It wicks fantastic. It does leak a little bit if you tilt it or anything like that, but very, very rarely, and you really have to over squonk it to get it to do that. I did that just because I wanted to see if I could get it to leak, but this isn't one of those that will never ever leak. It may leak a little bit, but not much. And I promise you that that would not be, if that's a reason why you wouldn't want to buy this, then you're wrong, because it's not going to leak that much. The squonking ability on it is absolutely fantastic. It wicks fantastic. The deck is open and nice. The juice goes right to the coil, right to the wick and up to the coil. If you think the Dead Rabbit wicks well, then you're going to love this RDA because it's very, very similar in that respect. If I were to rate this RDA on a scale of poor all the way up to excellent, this is a great RDA. This is $42.50. It is right under pre-order right now. You can get it from Vitality Mods from their website. $42.50. Is it worth $42.50? It absolutely 100% is worth $42.50. Quite frankly, this is really a $49.99 or a $50 RDA in my opinion. And I don't say that lightly because I'm pretty conservative with my estimates, but with the quality of the RDA, with how well it performs, for somebody who's a builder and wants an RDA that you can showcase coils, this is right up there with all the $50 RDAs. Thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. The Vape at 5, I do this 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday is the Vape Hot Tub at 5 o'clock Eastern. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So make sure you show up and hang out. I'd really appreciate and love to see you in chat. Thanks everybody for joining, and we will see you